This last year has been so extraordinary in so many different ways. For me personally, responding to the needs of my patients during the COVID-19 pandemic has certainly been the greatest challenge thus far in my career, as I'm sure it has been for many of you. But out of 2020 came some really amazing things. And I'm not just talking about the internet memes, Tiger King, and our newfound sourdough bread baking skills. This year, I saw family physicians rising to the occasion in response to a thing we had unknowingly spent our entire careers preparing for. It takes operational brilliance to launch a telehealth program overnight, or set up a fully functioning emergency department in a parking lot. It takes bravery to oversee a sniff while a deadly virus runs rampant through it. It takes an uncommon amount of stick-to-itiveness to figure out what on earth is going on with the TPA so you can cut through all the confusion and just get vaccines into people's arms. And it takes tremendous emotional resilience to sit at the bedside of a dying patient in the wee hours of the morning when everyone else is asleep, because you know that if you don't sit there, that person will die alone. It takes a lot of Band-Aids over the bridge of your nose to protect it from the bruising and abrasions that happen from wearing PPE for 16 or 18 or even 24-hour shifts. In this pandemic, I've been reminded of what I love about family medicine and you, my fellow family doctors. You all are the very best of what medicine has to offer. Our individual jobs may be as diverse as the patients that we serve, but we're all part of the part of the fabric of family medicine. We're quilted together by a relentless desire to use everything we have in the service of our patients and our communities. I am deeply humbled that you've entrusted me with the role of president of the CAFP. This organization has been my professional home since I was a second-year medical student. The people within have sustained me throughout my career in times that I've succeeded, in times when I've faltered, in times when I've experienced empathy fatigue and I started feeling angry towards my patients for the very circumstances that led them to my care. Or those times when I swore that whatever administrator I was trying to convince had some personal vendetta against me and wasn't just an imperfect person trying to do her best in a perversely incentivized, imperfect system. My colleagues within the CAFP, you all have shown me how to thrive in family medicine. The CAFP is filled with servant leaders who are as innovative as you are insistent in driving the change that we need. You are people who've taken a pandemic and found in it the opportunity to do things better, smarter, and in more patient-centered ways. You all are my North Star. Thank you for helping me to become a better doctor. As your president, I will do my best to represent you and the field of family medicine well. As I think about what lies in our future, I must acknowledge that this past year has also been extraordinary for another reason other than the pandemic. We, of course, are in the midst of a national reckoning about racism and health inequity in America. And this moment in time, right now, will define how we are judged by future generations. Let me be clear, racism is not new. It is foundational in the history of our nation, and our modern institutions perpetuate historical injustices. But we are at a moment where change is possible if we are brave enough to take it on as the work of family medicine. And it is the work of family medicine. A ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built to do. Family doctors were built for adventures. Family doctors were built to navigate difficult journeys that others would not attempt. Family doctors have always uplifted and amplified the voices of those who've been overlooked by society. We provide the services that people need to maintain their dignity. We work in prisons and jails, in immigration detention facilities, in substance use disorder treatment centers, in regional centers, in abortion clinics, in hospice centers, in gender-affirming care clinics, on homeless street outreach teams, in violence prevention programs, and so many other places where vital services are provided. Family doctors know what injustice looks like because our work revolves around the health effects of it. And many of us are intuitively drawn to those places that have the most injustice because that's where we know that our work must begin. But if we're truly to make a difference, if we are to advance health equity, we must be equal parts deliberate, thoughtful, and aspirational. It's insufficient to simply denounce racism or agree that health inequity is bad. The difference between being effective and ineffective in moving the needle is application of rigorous scientific methodology to the work that we do. We must collect data, we must benchmark, we must measure the effects of our work with patient-oriented outcomes. As scientists, we must measure what we treasure. We all know the statistics about Black maternal and infant mortality. We know that COVID-19 has disproportionately affected Indigenous people and Latinx people and the disabled community. We know that the largest mental health institution in the world is the LA County Jail because our society chooses to incarcerate people rather than to simply acknowledge that they are unwell. We know that right now there are unaccompanied minors, toddlers, being held in a convention center in Long Beach, and another in Pomona, and another in San Diego, because our government doesn't quite know what to do with them. This knowledge of these unacceptable things is our call to action. We must center this work. We must acknowledge that it's our work. We must lead our communities in doing this work. And we must define our success by how well we do this work. As the saying goes, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. The House of Medicine has a lot of history to look back upon, but as we live moving forwards, we have to take our understanding of the past and plan to do better now and in the future. This fall, your board of directors will meet to develop the strategic plan for our organization for the next few years. As always, our strategic plan will encompass the work that we do in all the different areas that are important to our profession. Things like payment reform, workforce development, medical education, and legislative advocacy. But my commitment to you is that as we do this work, we will look through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We will develop concrete, measurable goals, and we will define our success by how well we achieve them. When we are done, our strategic plan will reflect not only the future direction of the profession of family medicine, but it will also reflect that the CAFP is a national thought leader in advancing health equity. While this year was extraordinary in what so many family physicians achieved, I believe that our best work is still yet to come. Friends, as we as a profession tackle our innumerable challenges, I draw from you my inspiration. I miss you. I miss giving you hugs, sharing meals and cocktails with you, and just hanging out, because not only are you my colleagues, you're my friends and you're my family. I hope that next time we meet, it will be in person, like in 3 actual dimensions. And I look forward to the good work that we will do together, as only family doctors can do. Thank you for placing your trust in me.